Hello and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Laraine Durham. I'm your host. This is our weekly series in our Downsized channel where we talk to people currently on GLP-1 medications like Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, tirzepatide, semaglutide. So today we're talking to Cathi. Hi, Cathi. How are you today?
I'm great. Glad to be with you.
Awesome. Let's get started, Cathi. We'll jump right in. Tell me about yourself.
Well, probably the most interesting thing about myself is that I'm a mother of 9 and a grandmother to 29, and I have 2 great grandchildren. My husband and I have been married just over 50 years, and
Congratulations.
so we have quite a support group around us.
That's awesome. Do they all live nearby or are they
They
spread out?
don't. They don't. They're the closest one is probably 4 hours away, and the rest of them farther than that. But because we have lake property, they come to see us very often.
Nice.
So they, however long a trip it is, they make it.
That's great. That's great. Well, tell me something else about yourself.
Um, I am self-employed. I work full time as part of the editorial team and a senior copy editor for realclearpolitics.com, which is a nationally known entity for polling averages and different kinds of political content, investigative content. That's something I didn't start until 3 years ago. I didn't work most of my adult life. I homeschooled all 9 of those kids, and so as they were beginning to peel off and I needed something else to do, I
Mhm.
took on other kinds of things, and I also work with a partner in marketing, for nonprofits and small businesses. So I have plenty to keep me busy, along with
Sounds
buying gifts for grandchildren.
good. Well, that's the most fun part, I'm sure.
It is fun. Yeah.
Homeschooled 9 kids. So what are the age ranges from oldest to youngest?
Um, there's a 22-year spread. My oldest will be 50 this year, and my youngest is 27, 28.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment in and of itself. Well, tell me about your weight loss journey, which medications you're taking, a little bit about that.
Okay. I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic very early in life. Controlled it mainly with diet and exercise and whatever. But as the years wore on and menopause approached, I began to have extra weight that ended up kind of becoming a problem for me. Um, and I was on diabetes medications unrelated to the weight loss adventure. I was diagnosed with a condition that I won't go into, but it made it impossible for me to take any diabetes medications. I was on Jardiance. I had been on metformin, several other things,
Mhm,
and because of the way they work, aggravating another condition that I have, my
mhm.
doctor said, we have 2 choices: insulin, or I can start you on Mounjaro." He warned me about side effects. He
Yeah.
also warned me about the cost, and he said, "I don't know that your insurance is gonna pay for it." But because I had had these other medications ruled out for diabetes,
Mhm.
it was not a problem getting insurance to cover it. So I started on Mounjaro, on December 20th, right before Christmas. Bad time to start on something that makes you so sick, right? And after the first couple of weeks, I called my doctor and I said, "I cannot do this. I just can't do it." And he said, "Would you just give it a couple more weeks?" And so I did. And very glad I did, because some of the side effects for me have gotten better. Other ones I've just learned to navigate my way around, like
Mhm.
how much I eat at a time and how late in the evening I eat, that
Mm.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And so, I am currently on 10 milligrams and have been on, like I said, since December, and have lost 35 pounds, which I think is kind of average. I'm glad that it hasn't been faster than that, because I've needed to kind of get used to the new
Yeah.
lifestyle. Um, so I, and then complicating my story, is the fact that I was diagnosed in February with breast cancer
Mm.
and underwent a double mastectomy on April
Wow.
2nd. So
Wow.
that was a big question to me. How is that going to play into, because I had really no idea how much pain I was going to be in, how
Mm.
difficult it was going to be to eat anyway. It turned
Yeah.
out it was really a fairly seamless. I stopped my Mounjaro 9 days before surgery, but you might be interested to know that the surgeon told my husband when I came out of surgery, we had to pump her stomach. There was
Oh.
still so much there, which
Huh.
is good for me to know because,
Yeah.
Christopher was talking about his colonoscopy. I have
Yeah.
one scheduled. And I'm going to forego the 2 shots before that procedure, knowing that evidently my system takes longer than even most people to empty out, because they had thought a week would be fine, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess everybody's different with how much of a delay that
yeah.
causes through your stomach. So, yeah, I think at least 2 weeks sounds like a good idea. Did you have to do any chemotherapy during this time? It's
No, what it
been
was
2
such a
weeks.
blessing.
Mhm.
We caught it early, and not
Good.
only did I not have to do chemotherapy, I didn't even need radiation.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I'm cleared now. I'm cut loose from all my other than follow-ups, every probably
Yeah.
6 months and a scan now and then. But yeah, I for having breast cancer, I have been on the easiest road you could possibly imagine, which I'm very grateful for.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So that's really pretty recent. That's just been 2 months since you've
Yeah,
had this?
just 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still healing and all that. But
Well, I
you went
healed
back
pretty
on?
quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, went right back on. As a matter of fact, the first whatever, I think I take my shots on Monday. I had surgery on Wednesday. I took a shot the following Monday and did fine.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well, good. That's a very difficult thing, breast cancer. That's a big scary thing, breast cancer, but it sounds like that it's good that you caught it early. I guess you probably caught it on a mammogram.
yes, on a routine mammogram, I had no symptoms. And I had not had a mammogram, and it had been too many years, probably 6 or
Oh,
7, since before COVID.
gotcha.
And so I changed doctors. My doctor retired. I got a new doctor. He said, let's catch up on all these things. And I was, oh, that's not the most fun thing to work into your schedule. But I did
No.
it. And within 2 days, they'd called me back and said, we kind of need to take another look. And so we're really glad,
Well,
glad they
thank
did.
goodness you did. Yeah, that sounds like, perfect timing there,
Yeah.
if
It
there
was.
is such a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no great time to get cancer, but yes, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah. So you're on the 10 milligrams currently, and so how long do you see yourself continuing with the 10 milligrams?
Well, I'm happy, right? The shortage actually bumped me up to 10 before I was quite ready to, because
Ah,
I couldn't get 7.5.
yeah.
Um, I'm fine right now on 10. I'm not hearing food noise, and I have manageable side effects, and I don't eat much for the first 48 hours, and then I can eat fairly reasonable amounts the next few days.
Yeah.
So I'm content to stay where I am. One thing that I've noticed is that I've been on a one of those really discouraging weight stalls for about 3 to 4 weeks, and I
Huh.
just kind of happened to figure out by listening to another YouTuber. I'm on a I'm on tamoxifen, which you take after breast cancer to reduce the recurrence when you have estrogen receptor positive cancer.
Okay.
And 80% of women who are on it gain weight, as
Oh.
in 20 pounds or more.
Oh
And so it
god.
could be that this is just keeping me,
Oh,
right? It
kinda
could be that
keeping you.
that my stall is gonna be as long as I'm on this drug. And so if I can stay on 10 milligrams and not gain any more weight, I think I'm gonna have to be happy with that.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds
so
like it. How long
we'll
will you
see.
be on the tamoxifen?
5 years.
Oh.
It's a 5-year course. Yeah, so it just
Oh,
doesn't leave
shoot.
me. I'm gonna try not set expectations that will keep me.
You're the first person I've talked to that's been on that for sure. So, are you eating a certain way? Do you eat certain food? Are you eating protein? Tell me about your diet and what you're eating.
Maximizing protein, which has not been too hard for me because I've been on a modified keto lifestyle for a long time.
Mhm.
So but I have had to really make sure that every bite I put in my mouth has protein in it and not waste calories or stomach capacity on things that aren't
Yeah.
going to add to that protein content. So,
Yeah.
like I said, for the first 48 hours, sometimes I don't have anything but a protein shake. But then I try to really maximize the protein, eggs and meat, even snacking on nuts, anything that will add a few grams of protein to that total count.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I've heard someone else say eat the protein first before you eat other parts of your meal. Your capacity to eat has gone down so much. So that's
Right.
great that you're doing that. Tell me about your side effects. You touched on that a little bit.
Well, I had a lot at first. I had just terrific nausea. And that's why I at first thought, no, I can't do this. Because I had heard some people say those side effects don't go away. And to a certain extent, maybe they don't. But like I said, you learn to navigate around it so that you
Yeah.
minimize them.
Yeah.
I guess constipation is my main thing that I deal with all the time. Yeah. So
Yeah. Me too.
I've found ways to deal with that. I've become a water drinker and I really never had been before.
Awesome. Yeah.
Most of the water that I contained was in coffee. Now I've been really faithful about the water and fiber and exercise helps, walking helps.
Yeah, let's talk about exercise. What kinds of exercise are you doing?
Well, I walk at
Or
least
are
2
you
miles
able
a
to?
day.
2
Yeah,
miles?
I walk
Uh-huh.
at least 2 miles a day, and I made myself stay really with that even through the surgery. The morning I left for surgery, I walked 2 miles, and when I got home the next day after general anesthesia, I walked a mile and a half that day.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I was right back into it because I know myself well enough to know that if I take 3 or 4 days off, it's really
Yeah,
harder to get back in. So I didn't know what I'd be able to do after surgery, but my
yeah,
walking was not affected. Other kinds of exercise were.
yeah,
Weightlifting, I wasn't allowed to do for 8 weeks. Just so I'm just now
yeah,
back to being able to lift weights and pull TheraBands and other kinds of arm and chest strengthening things. But the
yeah.
walking stayed, and so now I will add back some resistance.
Yeah, that's awesome that you were able to maintain the walking. That's great. That's great. To do it the day before you're like, and so soon after, that's, I just
Uh,
have to give you a bravo right there because that's awesome.
well, I think
Yeah,
that commitment did help me recover faster all round,
yeah,
gain my energy back and appetite, all those things.
yeah. Awesome. And the weight training, I mean, when you're able to work that back in. You're just now able to work that back in. I've just been seeing more and more things where talking about how weights are so important, especially for women to lift weights. And I've been talking to people at the gym where I go to saying, I need to go over there to the weight room side of the
Yeah,
gym and figure some things out. It's great that you have that in mind and on the horizon, so to speak.
yeah.
What are some of the things you like to eat? Like, what are your some go-to breakfasts, go-to lunches?
Um, my current favorite breakfast when I can get something down. There are some days I just can't. And I work starting 5:45 in the morning. I'm at my computer working. And so sometimes depending on what the workload is like, even if I were hungry enough to eat, it just doesn't happen until 11.
Yeah,
But my current thing is, are you familiar with Hero Breads?
I don't think so,
It's a for a keto lifestyle. It's a bakery
Okay,
that does uh, breads and all kinds of bread, tortillas, different things with resistant wheat. And so they
okay,
have 0 or 1 carb per serving. So I've been having a piece of toast, a multi-seeded bread with a lot of peanut butter on it. So protein and some sugar-free
yeah,
jam. Right now, that's my jam. That's what I
awesome.
do.
Is
Um,
the bread good? Sometimes you get those keto breads and you're like, "Ugh,"
this
but
is
this one
good
is you
because
like
it's wheat. I mean, it's
ah,
real wheat. And the
gotcha.
kind that I like best is a seeded bread. So it has some crunch to it and something besides just a piece of white bread. I don't like their plain white bread, but I
Okay.
love their tortillas are wonderful. And
And
they
you
I
get it at
can't
Walmart?
go right now. I order online and I hear there are
Okay.
some stores that are carrying them, but if you go to herobread.com, you'll find them.
Okay. Yeah, I love bread. I'm always looking for a good bread substitute or replacement or Christopher says, "Just eat the regular bread every once in a while," but sometimes you don't want it all those carbs.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and like
And
I
how
said,
about
I don't wanna put much in my mouth that's not gonna be protein. So,
yeah, for
and
sure.
and really the bread is just the vehicle to get that peanut butter in me.
Peanut
I'm not for me, it's not that I really want bread, it's that I'm probably not gonna just eat a tablespoon of peanut butter by itself.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there with the jar and the spoon.
And my kids love that too, but it's not ever anything that I've enjoyed
Yeah.
doing.
Well, that's good, that's good. What about lunches? What do you like for lunch?
Um, okay, my husband and I pretty much, especially since my shots, have gone to a one meal a day other than what
Oh,
sometimes I can get for breakfast. So we have a a, a meal usually around 3 in the afternoon because I find that if I eat after 4, I'm having to
mhm.
take Pepcid or something to
Ah,
be able to sleep or
okay.
some other heartburn medication.
Yeah,
So, we're eating a lot of fish and we've always eaten a lot of chicken, but we're trying to add in a lot of fish and, a salad and then maybe, some kind of low carb vegetable. And
yeah. Sounds
that's
good.
what we that's what we do on a regular basis. And
So
once in a while, I try baking something, low carb, some kind of dessert or whatever, but I, for some reason, find that that's not all that satisfying to me. If I can't have a
oh,
real dessert, it's not that it doesn't taste good, but I'll make a big batch of something and I'll have one serving and then I'll think, I don't think I can eat the rest.
yeah. Well,
So
that might be the medicine talking too, like,
yeah,
one serving is enough, where
yeah,
before I would wanna eat the whole batch of cookies.
yeah. Well,
When
and
there's just
I don't
one.
necessarily want very much at one time, but I also think I don't think I'm going to want this tomorrow.
Oh,
One serving was enough. So I'm looking at things like mug cakes. You've seen the
oh, yeah,
recipes for those for just
yeah,
one serving so that I don't have most of a 13 by 9 pan of something sitting around that I'm not gonna eat. My husband's probably not gonna eat it either.
yeah. Has your husband, eaten along with you? Does he have any weight to lose or anything like that?
He would like to lose some weight too. He still probably consumes more carbs than I do. We eat the same thing, but then he adds other things in when he's hungry, and that's
Yeah,
fine. He's not on anything that's curbing his appetite. So
right.
yeah, but he doesn't have a huge weight problem. And he also he's very physically active. We live on a lake. He kayaks, cardio
Oh, nice.
kayak, um,
Nice, yeah.
a couple of times a day and also does walking and weightlifting and several hundred push-ups a day and more than I
Oh,
do.
several hundred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Was he in the military or
He
something
was
somewhere?
actually. Yes. He retired from 27 years in the military. And so
Ah,
that probably got him started on that kind of thing. But yeah, he's pretty physically active for somebody who's 72.
awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do your kids know about the Mounjaro and the weight loss and the whole thing?
They do. They do. And some of them were hesitant to see me do this.
Right.
And I explained everything that I could and sent links to different resources that would help them to understand. They also know that, and I've told them, I'm not sure if this were just for weight loss, I would stay on it forever. I
Yeah.
there are too many side effects and too many life changes that I've had to incorporate that it would be really hard for me to stay on. But my blood sugars are just great. Before I started, my A1C, I don't know if you're familiar with the numbers, but
Little
I
bit.
had an 8.5 A1C, which is not good. And now I'm down to 6.2, which is getting close to normal.
Yeah. Awesome.
But the other thing that has motivated me to stay on it is I've had a 35-year problem with irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh. Huh.
And this has been, at times, it has taken over my life. It has
Oh goodness.
decided for me whether I can leave the house. It's just been a real trial. So after I had been on Mounjaro about a month, I thought, it's been, it's been a month since I've had any of these symptoms that I've had forever.
Wow.
And so I started wondering, because through the years, I had tested all kinds of different diets, elimination diets, and all
Yeah.
kinds of things to see what it was that was irritating me. And I
Mm-hmm.
had figured out that wheat was a problem, oats were a problem, but they weren't the
Yeah.
only problem, because even when I
Mm.
eliminated those things, I still had severe IBS.
Wow. Okay.
So when I began to realize that there was a difference here, I thought, okay, I had heard before that some people have this problem because of the speed of motility in the digestive system. And
Oh,
so I thought, okay, so now this is slowing me down,
close
and
it down.
maybe it's the reason. So then I started doing some research, and I found out that not only was Mounjaro being
Use
prescribed
for
off label for obesity, it was
Mhm.
now being tried off label for IBS.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that here and there around. That's the yeah. And Christopher, when you said things went through very fast, he raised his hand. Christopher has one of those digestions that he can eat something and then he's like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
not gonna stay in there."
Well,
And he's found it slows everything down to
so yes, it slows
more
everything
to more
down.
normal food. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm not having any more problem. So if it were just for that,
Yeah.
I might
It'd be worth it.
go on it. Whether, the weight loss is nice,
Yeah.
but it's not as important to me as the blood sugar, because I would rather not be on insulin injections twice a day. I'd rather take a shot once a week
Yeah.
and treat it that way. So that's good. And the IBS is good. And of course, the weight loss is good too.
But sounds like it's working well for you on several fronts.
Yeah, it
So
is.
that I
And
yeah, they're just finding more and more things that this, tirzepatide is great for. It's amazing.
right. And evidently, there are more drugs in the pipeline that are going to be even more advanced. And hopefully, we'd get a pill sometime in the next few years so that we don't have to do
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah, we keep seeing news stories. We've reported on a couple that, where pills are in development and, that'd be great because who no one loves to give themselves a shot. Yeah, I'll do
No,
it. I
yeah.
don't want to do it, but I'll do it. So yeah, pills would definitely revolutionize the whole thing. Are there any tips or things you want people to know that might be starting a, a, a weight loss or an IBS journey?
Well, well, one thing that I would say is I went a little too far in seeking out advice on YouTube, and ran into a lot of YouTubers who were claiming that I had to buy this whole list of products and, all these
Yeah.
drinks and, I don't want to get dehydrated, but I also don't want to pay another 70 or $80 a month for products that are supposedly must-haves. And so
Right.
I would say don't don't go too far into someone else's journey, and
Yeah,
that
for
you
sure.
need to do all the things that they're doing, or the products that they're pushing, because I've
Yeah,
done the same with just my water.
yeah. I've gone down a couple of those rabbit holes too, and we don't really promote any products here, but I'm fine to tell people what I use in case they want to use them. But one thing I have found just through other websites that I found helpful is electrolytes. I wasn't drinking any, I wasn't putting any in my water, and the more I find out about that, the more convinced I am that it's helpful. But there are
How are you noticing that?
well, like when I work out. So I was doing some pretty intense cardio workouts. I was getting a little dizzy at the end, and I don't know if it was maybe food related or hydration related. So I've been adding electrolytes like The brand is Element, just
Yeah.
FYI. But I've been using 1 pack per day in my big, 40-ounce Stanley cup of water, and when you it helps your body hold on to the water better. So,
Mhm.
it's possible to drink too much water, I'm reading, um, but I think my goal was always 100 ounces of water a day, which I'm still kinda working toward. I just dumped some electrolytes in one of my big Stanley
Mhm.
refills. But yeah, I've seen those lists that you're talking about, and it is kind of it can be off-putting for sure. Definitely, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down, and I think this is so new and so many people are just finding out about it and just starting on it, and really, there's not a lot of information about when you get to the end and what that looks like, so that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out too.
Right. And for me, there, as long as it's being used to control my type 2 diabetes, there won't be an end. There may be a transition to pills at some point, but
Yeah,
this isn't one where I got on to lose 30 pounds and now I'm going to just try to, go off and maintain my weight. This is
yeah.
forever.
This is doing a lot of good things for you.
It is. It
So,
is. I'm here for
I'm
it.
I'm glad that you found it, and, I'm glad that it's working for you. Thank you, Kathy. It's been great talking with you today. Thank you for coming on the Downsized Dish. If you out there in YouTube land would like to be on the Downsized Dish, send me an email at ldurham at folio28.com. Also, I want to tell everyone out there that, and Christopher just put the banner up, join us for Downsize Live this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be live on YouTube. We're going to be taking some live viewer comments and questions. So if there's anything you want to throw at us during that time, we hope you'll join us for Downsize Live Thursday at 7. And be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Thanks for watching. Thank you to Kathy. And I'm Laraine Durham for The Downsized. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye.